as people may know, I mainly do World War II airsoft, so basically I had this L96, I think it's L96 sniper rifle, and I never really use it, so I thought, well, what could I do with it? So I started thinking, well, how about an anti-tank rifle? They're World War II weapons. Now you've got the Mauser tank Gruer model 1918, but it doesn't really suit that. The perfect thing I need is an allied weapon. So there's the Boys Anti-Tank Rifle of Great Britain. Length 63 inches or 1613 millimeters. Barrel length 36 inches, 914 millimeters. Now, I'm not going to go mad and try and get this exactly right. I'm just going to do sort of a generic Boys Anti-Tank Rifle. So the first thing to do is to pull the L96 apart. Oh look, it's very quick to do, isn't it? That's because I've taken all the screws out of it. So basically we dump this. The stock is actually weighted. Most of the weight has been added in the way of probably die cast or lead weights inside the stock, just to make it heavy. Now you basically get down to this and the trigger mechanism. So there's not a lot to them. A typical airsoft gun, they're very cheaply made. There should be a small grub screw there, but since stripping it down, the grub screws actually fall out. The thread on it was non-existent, and the screws just dropped out and gone missing somewhere. So, but I'll get around that problem. I don't think I'll be worrying about the grub screw by the time I finish this. So you got the mechanism. The bolt slides out quite easily, like so. If you look inside the bolt, it's there's the spring, and the piston is just plastic. The aluminium of the serre on the trigger mechanism, which is just there. As I say, the trigger mechanism serre is aluminium, and that catches onto a piece of plastic. So they're not very strongly made, these things. If I wanted and put the time in, I could probably make something really decent out of steel and not bother with any of this. But anyway, let's see where we go from here. Okay, in my opinion, an almost ideal thing to use for this, to make up a stock to convert this into a Boys Anti-Tank, would be just use a piece of unistrut, which is 40mm. It's open at the top, and it's just a piece of channel. Now basically all we've got to do is mount this into the unistrut and cut it to the right size, and this section here of the receiver needs to be recessed into the unistrut. So basically you need to cut a little bit off the edges of this piece of unistrut and fit it down inside there. Now the other part to take care of is this is where the magazine on the L96 clips in underneath. Now this, I'm going to have to cut a slot in the base underneath here for the magazine to clip into. Other things, the L96 was held into the stock by two, they look like M6 bolts there and there, so it'll have to have some fixings, 2 holes underneath the metalwork to hold that. It doesn't look like a very complex build, to be honest with you. May prove different when I start doing it. Then what have we got? On the rear end, it has this very unusual stock. Now, I don't really understand the idea of this thing here. It's sort of like you have got to hold it with 2 hands, it would seem. It's got 2 hand grips on it, and the shoulder grip, so presumably you put your left hand on that there and your right there. Yeah, that would make sense. And you'd lie down on the floor with it and dig the bipod into the ground. Yeah, so it's quite a beastie. Let's see where I go. Well, I've made a few changes to this now. You can see how it's sort of starting to come together. I've got some ideas about how to change the barrel and make the barrel longer, but they did actually make an airborne version, or paratrooper version maybe I should say, of this with a shorter barrel. So I could always say, well, I've made one of those. Now, as to what the end of the barrel and the foresight would look like on the paratrooper version, I don't know. I've not actually found a picture of one yet. Yeah, the proper one should have a barrel that's 90, I think it's 92 centimeters long, so it's quite a long barrel. Now, here's the mechanism. It's still, yeah, okay, it's just awkward to do with my left hand. Right, there's the bolt mechanism, which is hidden away in there.